We got a ton of calls. Dusty is in my ear about it. Dusty, who do you have?
We do. We really do have a ton of calls. And we're going to start with Willie from Fort Worth, Texas.
Hey, brother.
Willie, what's your question? Who's it for?
Hey, brother. Good to talk to you. Hey, listen, it's to you. I was watching Biden. It was hopeful. It was great. He was exiting well. He lost me. He lost me when he lied about saying that the border's better now than it was then. That's when he lost me. I felt bad for him. I think you're right on. I think that the party should have just stopped it a long time ago and not wait for the letter that came from George Clooney. Anyway, my question to you is, if you thought it was truthful, how did you feel with this exit speech that he gave? Did you find it truthful?
Yeah, in part. Look, he may think that it's better now because of his most recent policies and how it slowed the flow. But, you know, perception is reality in politics, Willie. We both know it. And the southern border is a disaster area as far as everybody feels, and for good reason. The thing that scares me most in America in terms of what could happen to my kids is fentanyl. It's not even close. It's fentanyl, okay? And if you don't deal with the southern border, the fentanyl is going to keep coming. It's killing more people than anything we've seen before. So that's on his watch. He's done nothing because his left flank wouldn't let him. He put Harris in charge of dealing with why the migration is how it is, which was designed for her to deal with foreign countries. We never heard anything about what she did ever again. So now that's an albatross around her neck. But was he being truthful? No, not about everything. Is it his truth? Maybe, but that doesn't make it the truth. Dusty, you want to take another one, or can I ask a question to Chris?
I can take one more, and then you can go to Chris. Let's go to one more. Let's go to Brooklyn from Virginia. Brooklyn from Virginia.
Hi, Chris.
That's very confusing. Brooklyn, what's your question?
Hi, Chris. I want a woman as president, but I have concerns. I was never able to circle her name, Kamala Harris's name, at the ballot box. So how can we reassure voters like myself who want to be involved in the process and who want our voices to be heard? And how do we prevent women's legitimacy from being questioned in leadership roles if they don't go through the same process?
That's a tough question, so I'm not going to answer it. Chris, what do you think?
Well, I'm an outlier here. My taste in candidate selection is about as current as my taste in neckties. So I know that I'm of the unpopular opinion here, but the primary election system is an abysmal failure. We've been at it for, we've been talking about 1968 tonight. We've only started the primary system as we have it since after 1968. It was 72 and 76 where it really got going, and it's been a disaster. The way that the parties chose their candidates for office prior to that was exactly how they're doing it this time, which is that people who are invested in participants in the party, which is a private entity, it's not a government entity, these parties are private entities, choose their candidates. And I think it's perfectly fine if Democrats want to choose a different candidate. Delegates are delegated, and they can go do that. And I hope that a fever of smoke-filled rooms breaks out in both parties and that we can improve the quality of candidates that Americans are offered, because we stop letting 7% of the electorate in 5 states basically choose who the candidates for president are. That's not good enough.
Geraldo, should Kamala Harris be the first female president?
Well, you're asking whether I endorse her or not. I'm not ready to do that, Chris, but I will say that she has been belittled by Republicans and conservatives in a way that be careful what you wish for. If you look at some of these surveys, and of course Chris Stirewalt is much more hip to the in and out of that than I am. But just reading 538 tonight, you know, she's within 2-3 everywhere. And sometimes they show within the margin of error, of course, but sometimes they show her on top. That's after 48 hours. So I think that you discount her at your peril. And I think that Trump came out swinging in North Carolina, and he announced that he wasn't going to be nice. Why? Because I think, knowing the guy, that he's looking over his shoulder now. And he's saying, oh, my God, I was ready to get this guy in the wheelchair and smack him around and be vivacious and hit holes in one and show the difference between someone who represents the country biologically as well as emotionally and philosophically and politically. But instead, what did they get? They got the first black woman in history. And I'm telling you, I see a pulse there that don't ignore it, because there's something going on, whether statistically, I don't know, there are enough of those votes, from Brooklyn, from Virginia, or Virginia from Brooklyn, to get her in, to get her as competitive. But I think that Biden had to go. And it wasn't George Cuomo, George Clooney. It wasn't the New York Times. It was just watching him deteriorate, Chris. It was so sad. I hope he has a good time.
Right. No, listen, I get it. We're showing a picture right now of Trump watching Biden, and I wonder if his thought bubble, if I had to fill in Trump's thought bubble right now, it'd be like, why aren't I on TV? This is time that I'm not on TV. I will, we'll take one more question, but I'll tell you one thing that you learn in politics that is actually true. The angles of attack that people take show you what they're about, okay? And if they keep going after Harris for her personal life and for being the personification of DEI, it's a dog whistle at a minimum. It's cheap in the main, and it's unproductive in the biggest sense, and I think it's going to hit them in the face. They should hold their ammo right now and see how it plays out, because it's way too soon to go with your ugliest stuff. Dusty, you got one more call?
One more. Okay, one more, gentlemen. Real quick. Don't fine me for yelling at you, but James from Florida. Quick.
Hi, Chris. Here's my problem with DEI. I like Gus Moore. Good man, smart man, great politician, but Moore was elected by the people of his state. Harris is selected because of her sex and her race. In 16, she was Indian American. In 24, she's Black American. There's a big difference.
Yeah, but the analogy fails because Wes Moore, right, he ran for governor, also a Rhodes Scholar, also a field commander in Afghanistan. But let's put him to the side because he has nothing to do with this. J.D. Vance was picked because he represents the hillbillies, okay? Does that make him DEI? You know, Donald Trump never held office before. Does that mean that he only got it because he's a rich white dude? And that comes with certain connection and cultural cachet. I mean, you could do this all day if you want. Joe Biden did Harris no favors when he said, I'm going to pick a black woman. Had he not said that, and he had just picked Harris and explained why and included that she's a black woman, we wouldn't be here right now. But if you want to go at Harris, fine. I don't like the process either, but as Chris Stirewalt said, that is the party's choice. That's also why I hate the two-party system. They're not creatures of law. They're not in the Constitution. The only mention in the Federalist Papers was to not have them as part of the sectarian problems. And look where they've taken us. Trump and Biden was the two best that they could produce. That's how bad the two-party system is. But go after Harris if you want, but on paper, it's not like you could just dismiss her. She's a, prosecutor, first black attorney general in California, U.S. senator, California, VP. I mean, it's not like she's a chump change on paper. All right, I got to jump. Chris Stirewalt, thank you. Geraldo Rivera, I appreciate you as always. Thank you for living a moment of history with me.